The 1982 Mobile Fidelity box set set the standard by which all other Beatles box sets have been measured since. In this video, I'm going to take it apart and discover the stories behind it and how it sounds nearly 40 years later. Hi, I'm Andrew from Parlogram Auctions. Founded by Brad Miller in 1958, primarily to record steam trains and other exciting environmental sounds, Mobile Fidelity Sound Labs, or MFSL, had by the 1980s grown into one of the most successful and widely respected audiophile labels in the world. It had become dominant in the audiophile world by specialising in licensing back catalogue albums from major labels and remastering them using the now industry-standard half-speed mastering process. Although they claimed to add no compression to the mastering process, they weren't, as we'll see later on, adverse to some EQ tweakery. All of their records were pressed in Japan on supervinyl, which was a specially formulated compound developed by JVC, designed to be more durable than standard vinyl and produce less surface noise and other such distractions. The albums were luxuriously packaged in heavy cardboard covers, with inner card stiffeners and anti-static translucent inner sleeves. In December 1979, with a string of successful audiophile releases behind them, such as Supertramp's Crime of the Century and Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, they released their first Beatles album, Abbey Road. Their pressing of Abbey Road was well received and contemporary reviewers gushed over its amazing sound quality, and as a result, it sold in very respectable numbers. Encouraged by its success, Mobile Fidelity decided to work their magic on another Beatles album, Magical Mystery Tour, which they released in February 1981. The choice was a good one, as the album was one of Capitol's better Beatles ideas. However, there then followed a tale of blundering incompetence which produced one of the worst sounding records in Mobile Fidelity's history. The sorry story of which I'll be going into a little later on in this video. The White Album followed in January 1982, and then 5,000 copies of a special ultra-high quality pressing of Sgt. Pepper in October 1982. That same year, the project was taken to a whole different level, and a box set containing all 14 studio stereo albums was produced, which is the set you see here. Mobile Fidelity had struck an unprecedented deal with EMI to use the original album master tapes. So for the first and possibly the last time, the tapes left the Abbey Road vaults and were couriered over to the Mobile Fidelity offices in California. All of the albums in it feature artwork unique to this set and provide perhaps its most interesting feature. The front and back covers of each album show the labels of the original stereo master tape boxes, side 1 on the front and side 2 on the back. On them, we can see a host of dates and information about when recuts and copies were made, along with other interesting tidbits, which, if decoded, would take up a whole video all by themselves. As with the UK 1978 Blue Box Collection, this set omitted a collection of Beatles oldies, which meant that a large chunk of hit singles was missing. The bonus Rarities album from the Blue Box had at one point been considered for inclusion in this box, and test pressings were made, but for some reason it was pulled at the last minute. It's estimated that 25,000 of these box sets were produced, all of which were reportedly sold out within a year. As well as the albums, each box contains a 40-page art book, containing a numbered certificate of authenticity inside the front cover. This copy is numbered 1399. Then there's a 2-page prologue detailing the story of how the set came about and how it was produced, followed by the front and back covers of the original UK albums, and a discography inside the back cover. Although this is a stereo box set, the booklet oddly shows the revised 1981 mono covers of Beatles for Sale, Rubber Soul, Revolver, Sgt. Pepper's, and Yellow Submarine. A certificate of limited warranty is also included, along with something called a Geodisc. The Geodisc was essentially a cartridge alignment tool in the form of a 250-gram plastic disc designed to sit on your turntable. By following the detailed instructions printed on it, this tool would, as it promises here, allow you to achieve critical alignment to within 0.003 of an inch in moments, not hours. All of this was contained within a heavy card black vinyl covered box with gold-coloured lettering and a sturdy metal clasp at one end. In June 1984, after the set had sold out, Mobile Fidelity began releasing all of the albums individually, starting with Rubber Soul. The rarest of that series is With the Beatles, due to the fact that its run was cut short by a damaged stamper. So, do these albums sound any good? Well, they should do. After all, they were cut from genuine first-generation UK master tapes. Well, all that is, except for Magical Mystery Tour. Allow me to enlighten you about this mighty fail. All the tracks on the UK Magical Mystery Tour double EP set were recorded in true stereo at Abbey Road in September and October 1967. By November of that year, an agreement had been reached between Capitol and EMI, by which Capitol would use those recordings as the backbone of a 12-inch album of the same name, and add the Beatles' new single, Hello Goodbye, as well as both sides of their previous 245s. The Magical Mystery Tour stereo tapes, along with a first stereo mix of Strawberry Fields Forever, were shipped over to the US and were, on arrival at Capitol, subjected to their own brand of EQ. With the November the 27th album release date looming, Capitol found it had no time to source any true stereo mixes of Penny Lane, All You Need Is Love, or Baby You're a Rich Man. So they compiled the album using whatever tapes they had lying around, which were basically mono versions which they reprocessed into horrid simulated stereo. Fast forward to 1978, and EMI finally get round to issuing the Magical Mystery Tour album on Parlophone. Instead of recompiling their own album master from the original session tapes, or even using the 1973 cassette master, which contained true stereo versions of all the tracks, they called Capitol and requested a copy of their album master tape. So Capitol gleefully pulls its third-generation copy tape from its vaults and sends it to EMI, who duly mark it as Master. Moving forward now to 1980, and Mobile Fidelity have, as we already know, decided that the best album to follow the wonderful-sounding Abbey Road would be Magical Mystery Tour. So, unaware of the master tape's backstory, what do? They call EMI and ask them to send their album master tape. Okie doke, says EMI, who ship it off to California, where on the 8th of May 1980, Mobile Fidelity make a copy to cut their LP. So, if you've been paying attention to this sorry saga, you'll know that the tape Mobile Fidelity used to press the album in this set is in fact a copy of a copy of a copy of a well, you get the point. The only pressing of this album which is worthy of your time is the 1970s German Apple pressing with the A1B3 matrix. So, we've established that 99% of these albums were copied from the finest source, but do I like the way they sound? Well, the quality of the vinyl is superb and the covers are fascinating to look at, but the sound quality, well, it's all a bit too pipe and slippers for me. And that's mainly because Smiley Face EQ has been added across the board. Smiley Face EQ is the name given to a pattern of settings on a graphic equalizer, which basically increases both the high and low ends and reduces the mid-range frequencies. With these settings, you really have to crank up the volume to get any life out of them. And when you do, the bass is too boomy and the high end becomes unnaturally bright and can ultimately damage your system. It's that same type of two-dimensional sound as on the Japanese red vinyl mono box set, which I reviewed in the last video. And it's ultimately that lack of mid-range punch which really lets this set down. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you want the best sounding stereo pressings of the Beatles catalogue without paying top dollar, you'll have to seek out any UK pressings from 1969 to 1972. The quality of the vinyl is superb. Most use the original first pressing cuttings, and the covers are still laminated. They really do sound wonderful. If you don't have the time or the patience to find those, it's fairly easy to get hold of a BC13 Blue Box. Add to that the German Apple pressing of Magical Mystery Tour, and you're sorted stereo-wise. From today's perspective, the mobile Fidelity set seems like a missed opportunity, made even more disappointing by the fact that it's highly unlikely that EMI, Apple, Universal, or whoever will revisit the stereo issues and redo the 2012 set from the original analog tapes. Anyone want to start a petition? I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe, or maybe join the channel. Also, don't forget to check out our latest Beatles eBay auctions in the link below. There'll be another video along soon, it says here, but I'll say bye for now and thanks for watching.